last video was about about potential guides, so it's only natural that I'm gonna make a guide for RC cells after. Don't look at my gems because the potential wheel once again consumed me. But I did get 2 rainbows, which is nice. So this is my team now, just the updated version, and I'm gonna make a video to this team later. But first, RC cells. So what is an RC cell? So RC cells are these things that you can equip on every single character that you own. They come in different rarities, so maybe I have some to show this, but so they come in UR, where they can range from a certain score, I'm not sure where, like 80, 86 or something, yeah, all the way to 100. There's SSR, and then there is also, yeah, you can see there's NR, SR, SSR, and then there's UR from 86 all the way to 100, which you can't like sweep salvage here for some reason. Where do you get them from? You get them passively quite a lot in this game. Like there's lots of places where you get them from. Like for example, I mean, if I wanted some quick ones, I could go here and just sweep this guy, because he will give me some. Most events will give you some. Maybe I can show it here. Okay, this guy doesn't give any yet, but once you did a few loops, these rewards here will swap out for RC cells, like just regular ones. Also, just beating these stages gives you RC cells. Yeah, for example here, random reward, 1 RC cell. But yeah, as I said, you will get them a lot through the game, and the ones that you get randomly, they can either be useless, but they can also be very good. For example, I can maybe show you one that I got randomly that is pretty good. This one. So this is a naturally received one. It has a 100 rating, but it has 2 attack stats and an HP stat, and we will get into that a bit later, why that's optimal. This video is probably gonna be a bit longer because there is a lot about RC cells. But anyways, yeah. So the ones you get naturally, they're not gonna be that good. However, there are places where you can get guaranteed extremely good RC cells, and the most obvious one is the auction house. So how does the auction house work? Every organization will get the organization boss twice per week, I believe it is. Yeah, 2 times, and the moment you kill the boss, you will get an auction, and each auction will always contain 4 RC cells. Now, these RC cells will have different prices depending on if it's a normal cell, like green, red, blue, whether it's a wit or psi cell, whether it's already modded or not. I think the most expensive one is gonna be like 8k. So the auction house is a place to get them, like the good ones, and then there's other places, like sometimes in events you will get boxes where you can choose one. For example, I don't know if I can show it. Yeah, no, but the last time we were able to get one was of course for this Uta banner. So when you unlocked him and got him to a certain power, you got lots of rewards, and at the end of the reward there was a chest that you could open and select a RC cell out of. Now, from all these god RC cells, so wait, first, how does a god RC cell look? Like the auction house cells, they will always only have orange stats, no blue ones. As you can see in most of mine, this one is one that I naturally got, as I said before. And they will all have this attribute bonus, these god cells. They will always have 4 orange stats and attribute bonus, and of course have a rating of 100. The attribute bonus is pretty important because it will give a buff to a certain unit. For example, if you look here, I have 3 green ones on a green character, 3 yellow ones on a yellow character, 3 red ones on a red character, and the top cell, which is an attack cell, the bonus will give attack. The middle cell, which is a defensive cell, this one will give defense, and the bottom cell, which is an HP cell, will give HP. Now, Attack cells will always have attack stat, defensive always defense, and HP always HP, but there are exceptions. These are just extremely rare. For example, these cells right here, they all have 4 attack stats on them, even if it's a defensive or a HP cell. You will only be able to get these from events. There's no real other place to get them. But yeah, as I said before, there's attack, defense, HP. And god cells, they come in 3 different ways. So either you have 4 stats on them, which you can't get from the auction house. This is locked to events. 3 stats. This is a bad example because the fact that the attacks are down here and not up here shows that this was like I got this from an event and not from the auction house. But this cell right here, for example, 3 defensive stats. This is an auction house cell or one of the cells that you get from the boxes. But then there's also these ones which I don't really recommend buying. They only have 2 HP stats, or 2 attack or 2 defense, and this one is probably also from the auction house. Now, why do I not recommend them? For the simple reason that a cell with only 2 HP stats will give less CP. It just gives less HP, attack and defense will always give the most CP. So cells with the most of these stats here will give the most CP. It only makes sense. So of course these 4x cells right here are completely overpowered when it comes to CP, which is why they are this rare and hard to obtain. These are my only ones on the account. So yeah, that's why I wouldn't buy this one, but it's the same reason why this randomly, like this cell that I randomly got is that OP, because it is a 100 cell with 2 attack stats and an HP stat. If we compare it to an auction house cell, of course it's gonna give way less. 500, that is not a big difference. The fact that this is a random cell and this is an auction house cell, that the fact that it's only 500 CP, that's nothing. Usually it would give, usually it would be a way bigger difference. So if you can naturally get these cells, they're still fine to use. But yeah, most high rated cells, well, this also has an attack one, but often you will not have any attack, HP or defense. So yeah. On every account, I recommend buying these cells. If an organization doesn't buy cells, they will go into the world auction afterwards. For example, in my org, 1 cell wasn't bought, and it was this one because it only had 2 stats. And since nobody bought it, it goes into the world auction. And yeah. So now for how these cells work. So this star at the bottom left, this one you basically get after you modify the cell. So if I go to a bad cell, there's this modify button. Only UR cells have this feature. Modifying it will give it a passive. And I will make a separate video to this in the future because I just don't know enough about this yet to properly explain it. But it will give you one of these passives. As you can see, some are rarer, some are more common. And once you did this, and this gives 300 CP by the way, so if it's on your main lineup, I would definitely advise that you modify every single cell, because that's 3 per character. On 5 characters it's 15. That is a lot. That's gonna scale. So do this. And after you modified a cell, like the ones we have here, you can star them up by, and I mean, I guess I can sacrifice something real quick. So you modify another cell, and then you can star up an already existing cell by using these things over here and sacrificing one. This is gonna start it up. It gives 100 CP, but these stats are important because you see a 5-star cell will give some crazy buffs. Yeah, 10% damage dealt and 10% less damage taken, which is insane because you can have it on 3 separate cells, which stacks, of course. Now, it probably doesn't stack what's the word, like additively. Like you don't just do addition where it's 3 times 10 30. It's probably like multiplicative, or however you say it, which means that it's not quite 30%. It gets close, but still it's a very insane buff boost. So I advise to star up all your cells. Now, if you want to see my cells, I have them over here. As you can see, all of these cells here are auction house cells, except for this one that I showed before. And I also have some down here. And now cells, having perfect cells on an account is gonna get extremely expensive. Every account should have 30. I don't have 30 yet, but 15 is already good. 30 is optimal for one team, since you need 15 for your main guys and another 15 for your main assists if you want to maximize your CP. However, since the passives you get on a cell are random and there is no way to reset a cell, and for an optimal team comp, of course, you will want to have perfect passives, and that can get expensive. I mean, my passives are complete garbage. I never really looked at them, and one passive that is very popular is it's called Disruption, and it's this one right here. It's a very overpowered passive, but I don't have a single good cell that actually has it except this one. But this one has 2 stats that I don't want on my team. I prefer CP, so I don't use it. And if you look at my main upgraded cells by the pictures up here, none of them have Disrupt. Now, other passives are also very good. Some other notorious ones are like, for example, where is it? Yeah, buff removal. So buff removal has, like the name suggests, it can remove the buff from an enemy. However, if you stack this cell, there is actually a small chance, I think it's 1 in 4, that the charm buff from Green Toka is just completely deleted. So this, like, if you can get that while playing against Anteiku, you win on the spot. And it used to be the main way of countering the charm Psyarima comp that was meta some time ago. And lots of people seem to not notice, actually, why that's such an overpowered feature. So, yeah, please do that. And yeah, as you saw before as well, you can salvage your cells, which gives a lot of gems. So, if you don't know this feature exists and you collected gems for like months, and then you decide to salvage all of these ones, and maybe you are till here, that will give a ton of gems. I saw a screenshot once of a guy in my org. I mean, most of you probably know him. It's him, of course. He salvaged once and he got 11,000 gems from it. So that is a good amount of gems. So yeah, don't forget that feature exists. So yeah, and then I'm just gonna make one small comment still for any organization that is strong but wants to make all their members stronger over over a good amount of time. Will struggle with the auction house, since there are only 4 cells and you have 30 members in the org. That's gonna be problematic. So what you can do is make sub-orgs. So let's say we have the main org and then we have 5 smaller orgs. And after Clan War, we just send a few members into each org. They level said org and then they kill the org boss. The small orgs will get their own auction. So that way you can get way more cells. Like right now it would be 4 for 30. If we had 5 orgs, it would be 6 total. So 24 cells for 30. So now nearly everyone gets a cell for each cycle. And if you optimize, you can get 2 cycles a week, so 48. Then more than 1 per person. So yeah, if you want your org to get stronger, introduce sub-orgs. It's a big game changer. So yeah, I think that's everything. As I said before, okay, well, yeah, actually I can address LR cells real quick. So New players won't have this feature yet. For example, Tokyo Ghoul Awakening doesn't have it yet, but they released these LR cells, which have very good substats, give an insane amount of fixed stats, and they have these passives that are either garbage or completely overpowered. Owl is a prime example of a cell that is way too strong. And then we have, for example, we have this cell that is known for being completely useless. Now it does give a good amount of CP, but the passive is just, it's unusable. So yeah, LR cells are hard to get. You can either gamble them, which I don't advise. Like for 20k of these you can gamble, don't do this. Or you save till 50k and just buy one straight up, which is very expensive. So one modded cell, so basically 100 of these are equal to 1,000 of these. So for 50,000 cell essence you're gonna need 5,000 cell promoters, which is very expensive, but for some cells it is worth it. And there are also cells in the game that you can't buy, you have to get them through events. I don't have any of them to show you. I mean, I guess I can show you through this place. So for example, let's find a known one. I think I already bought it. Yeah, for example, the Owl Assault cell. You can't buy this one. You have to get it through an event. Or the Red Arena Bulwark cell. You also can't buy. You have to get it through an event. So yeah, they give tons of stats. They're 100% worth it. What isn't worth it, in my opinion, is starring them up. The star up gives the same passive as always. However, you need to sacrifice an entire LR cell on top of that. It's just too expensive. So yeah. Okay. As I said before, about the mods themselves, I will make a separate video sometime in the future once I have good mods myself, since that isn't really the case yet. But yeah, I hope this was able to give you an overall, like an overview about how cells work, where you can get them from, and how to differentiate between a good cell, a bad cell, what you should focus on when buying a cell, and why you should buy cells in the first place. So yeah, if you have questions, as always, just join the main Discord and tag me there, or of course the YouTube comments. Yeah, and to end the video, I'm just gonna do one more spin here just to get scammed again. Okay, perfect. And yeah, that's everything.